make sure that you're being true to yourself, because your body will tell you if you're not. It'll overwhelm you and stress you if you start playing up to a role that you strive to be. It's about the quality relationships that you can form, and you're gonna form more quality relationships if you are yourself. Welcome to the Fitness Genie podcast with Coach Laura. I'd like to talk about a subject that came up in my mindset call with a client of mine very recently. And it's a really interesting one and has different aspects to it, I feel. So what I want to discuss is playing up to a specific role or identity that, one, you've been given to you or have experienced, have been told that you're like this and you feel that is you. And then the second one is you playing a role or an identity that isn't you, but you feel is desirable. That is going to allow you to be included, to feel less judgment from, and just feel like you fit in society better acting like that. Now, I'm actually going to talk about the second one first. I have quite a bit of experience in that, and this is where it comes down to introversion versus extroversion. As a kid, I was always told from when I was born that I was a very quiet individual. I was more of an observer rather than a talker. Didn't really talk much. I think I was just in my own little bubble, in my own little world. But yeah, I was definitely more of an observer than like a very extroverted kid. And I think that's totally okay. And I was happy to be like that. When you're a kid, you have less baggage and you just do whatever you feel is right within your skin to do, right? But as I grew older, I picked up on the more popular kids in school and in clubs and stuff were the louder kids. The people who wanted to who had more friends were more extroverted and out there. So from this, I learned to be more like that, or felt like I had this pressure to be like that in order to feel included. And I think for a very long time of my life, which is kind of sad to think really, I don't think I was really being true to myself and who I am until recently. Because I felt like I had to play this role in order to keep friends and make friends. So when I was at school, I was in part of a big group of girls and I was the quieter individual from the group. I wasn't close with every single one of those members, but I had, 2 or 3 girls that I was super, super close with. But I envied the girls who were friends with everyone, and they were always out there and always funny in class and being loud, and I really kind of looked up to being like that, and I felt like me being quiet and calm and more of an observing individual was almost a negative thing, and I didn't really want to be like that. It's the same with when you start, when you're a teenager and you get more interested in hanging out with guys and stuff. Same thing, you just feel like being quiet is not going to get you anywhere. So you feel like you have to play up to this role. And I do think in our culture, extroversion is looked up to more than introversion. And I just don't think, I feel sad that it is like that, because ever since I've been able to be more true to myself and who I am, I feel much more happy and actually much more confident as well. I had the same thing when I went to uni. I was part of the hockey club, and all the girls who had, most of the friends and were included in everything were always the loud, extroverted ones. The quieter ones were kind of left on the side. And I think that happens a lot, but it's down to the individual to sit with that and be okay with it. because really naturally, if I think about it, as an introverted person, being included in everything should really stress me out more, and it does stress me out more. Like, I don't like too much socializing in one week. It just doesn't sit well with me. It just overwhelms me. So really sitting on the side is somewhat of a good thing. It's naturally just, I guess you're naturally taking your place in the group, and it feels more comfortable for you as well. But at the time, I didn't want to be how I was. I wanted to be that extroverted person that just got on with everyone and was always busy and socializing, even though it was stressing my body out. So I think this is a big reason why I personally started getting autoimmune issues, because I wasn't listening to who I was as an individual and living to my truer self, who I really am. And it's only been up until that point that my body's been able to relax, where I stopped giving a shit about those things, basically. And that's kind of the message that I want to take home for this part of the podcast, is to make sure that you're being true to yourself, because your body will will tell you if you're not. It'll overwhelm you and stress you if you start playing up to a role that you strive to be. It's not always about quantity, and I'm talking about quantity of friends and, being the popular person in whatever group of friends you might have or club you're part of. It's about the quality relationships that you can form, and you're going to form more quality relationships if you are yourself, and you'll be able to have those deep conversations and those deep connections with people. I think that's really important to remember. And ever since I started being more true to myself and not playing a role that I was striving to be, but just being who I am, my connections have grown so much more, and I feel so much more comfortable as well doing social things and just not feeling this pressure to be someone I'm not. I actually found that when I was trying to be someone I'm not, I was relying on external factors to make me like that. Drinking a lot of coffee, drinking a lot of alcohol, recreational drugs, all of these things. And it's so unhealthy if you think about it. You're just relying on these external forces to make yourself someone who you are just naturally your body doesn't want you to be. And I do believe it's going to eat away at you eventually. So please just make sure that something that I've been practicing a lot is making sure that what I say and what I do, how I behave and how I talk is aligned with who I am and how I feel. And not just saying things for the sake of saying things to make other people happy. Because that's you at the end of the day controlling the situation, rather than you trying to be kind. And well, it's you trying to fit in and be kinder to the other person, but you need to look at trying to be kind to yourself and make sure that everything's coming from the heart. So the situation with my client was slightly different, because she is a personal trainer and felt like she had to play this role as the personal trainer who's loud and bubbly throughout the whole of the day. And she felt like if she didn't have a coffee, which didn't actually make her feel good, she didn't have this external influence of having a coffee to keep her going throughout the whole day, it didn't feel like she could last for her really busy PT session days. And so she said this was because she's always been told she's always really positive and fun and bubbly. But is that persona, you've just put that persona on yourself as a role, as an identity. from what other people have told you. But you're not going to be like that the whole day, the whole time. And it's okay to be calmer and quieter and less extroverted throughout the day. That's okay. You create your own energy, and it is natural for you to be calmer when the sun starts setting. You naturally are preparing yourself for the night. So it's okay to not be really the same individual from who you are at the start of the day, if that makes sense. I feel like I'm kind of stumbling over my words, but hopefully this kind of makes sense. That just because people have put this certain persona onto you does not mean to say that you have to play that role. Be yourself. If you feel like you need to be quieter for the afternoon, that's okay. You don't have to rely on an external force to make you a certain way just to fit in or play the role that you've been given. As a personal trainer, someone who your clients look up to as well, it's very, very important to make sure that you are yourself, and naturally that will attract the right people for you to coach and for you to be around as well. So I'm going to leave it there. I hope this has resonated with people, especially the introverts, I guess, you guys out there. If you feel like you're acting in a way that doesn't feel right to you, start practicing being more aligned with yourself. So literally every word that you say, make sure that you mean it from the heart. And it sounds almost cringe and hard work as well, because we talk a lot, but if you feel like you're saying things in order to please others, then try not to do that. Because at the end of the day, you're actually just people pleasing, and people pleasing is more of a control issue than it is you being a nice person. So you trying to fit in and say certain things to make other people happy is just so you can control the situation, so you know what their reaction will be when you say something. When you are aligned with yourself and you say what you want to say, you can't necessarily predict how that other person is going to react to you. So when we say people pleasing, a people pleasing act, which is something that I used to do a lot of, is more of a control issue than actually being a nice individual. Although it does come across as that, and obviously we're all lovely humans at the end of the day, but it is more of a control mechanism. So yeah, I hope this was useful and it resonates with you. Please let me know if you did get anything out of this, and have a great day.